Hello Gunners, welcome back to another video, and in today's video I'm just going to be going through a bit of the pre-season stuff. The Gunners have been back in training following their little break from the end of the season for 2 days now, yesterday and today, and I'm just going to give you a little bit of what I've learned from watching the videos of the pre-season training and just a bit of information heading into pre-season overall. But before I begin, as always, if you are new here, please smash the subscribe button, smash the like button as well, and turn on those notifications. It will be very much appreciated. So without further ado, let's begin. A lot of the Gunners are back in training now. We've seen the likes of Partey, White, Jesus, Ødegaard, Nelson, Smith Rowe, even Tierney. A lot of the players that we expect to leave the club are also there in training, and it's just really nice to see. It's been a well-deserved break for the Gunners. A tricky season last season, and they really needed the break so that they can go strong next season as we go and chase that Premier League title. But I did watch a pre-season video and it just showed me a little bit, it wasn't much I could get out of it, but I did see some small things. The first thing that I have seen from the videos is the way Mikel Arteta is trying to tell his attacking midfielders and his wingers. He said this simple statement. He was like, I don't want to see my attacking midfielder and wingers in the same line. And this took me back to last season, especially on that side of, Saka, Ødegaard and White. I found that in a lot of the games, although they were quality, although they were really good plays from them across the whole of the season, they were often stepping on each other a bit too much. Whether it would be Ben White overlapping and then Ødegaard doing the same overlapping over Saka, whether it be Saka coming inside and Ødegaard also being inside, there was not really that fluidity consistently if we want to really be nitpicky. So I feel like Arteta wants to change that this season and is telling the likes of Ødegaard, who was in training, and Nelson, who was the winger, and White, who was the fullback, that do not be in the same line. Let's not confuse each other. Let's have different players in different positions to worry the opponent, because when you're stepping on each other, it really takes away from the quality plays that you can have, and it is a shame sometimes. I feel like a lot of our games, the Fulhams, at home and away, that was where I felt like that side of the pitch was a bit disappointing, from players overlapping onto each other, coming inside onto each other. It wasn't really as fluid as you'd want it to be. So nice to see a little change there from Mikel Arteta. Whether that's going to be consistent and we're going to see it from the first pre-season game against Bournemouth, I don't know. But the fact he's trying to put that from the first minute back in training is really nice to see. And you can tell Mikel Arteta is a sort of manager to nitpick, so I'm not surprised at all that he's done his homework and seen the games where we were often stepping on each other. So really nice to see that as well. A little bit of news in terms of Ben White. Fantastic news for him, actually, if you're looking at the England setup now, because Southgate has been sacked, which means that Ben White is probably more likely now to come back into the England setup, and that's fantastic news for us Gunners and for Ben White himself, because I feel like England do miss the quality that Ben White has. He's a fantastic footballer. He can play across the back four, except from left back. That's the sort of quality you don't get from many footballers. He's consistent, he's fit, technical abilities at a high level, he can overlap, he can invert. He's the perfect sort of player. I mean, England, I think, did miss that at the Euros. A player who's really comfortable doing anything, whether it's a game where you need to now go backs against the wall, Ben White can do that. Whether it's a game where you need a bit of technical brilliance and spraying the ball across the pitch, Ben White can do that as well. You want someone to overlap to Saka, the chemistry is really good between them, he can do that as well. So really nice news in terms of him, Ben White also being back in the English setup, hopefully now that Southgate and Holland have left. Another little thing in that pre-season video was the role of Tomiyasu in the little drills. I know you guys maybe think I'm nitpicking, but I did watch the video in depth and I saw the positions Tomiyasu was picking up really advanced on the pitch, in the small little pitch, and he has that confidence from Arteta. I feel like, Arteta really trusts Tomiyasu. He sees the technical ability Tomiyasu has, and he really thinks Tomiyasu has the ability to do multiple roles. I take you back to last season against Manchester City and how high up the pitch Tomiyasu got, knock it down, play it to Havertz then played it to Martinelli then scored. It's the little things like that which is really important. I feel like the fullbacks next season are going to have a pivotal role, as especially Tomiyasu. I really have my fingers crossed for him, because it's a massive season for him, not in terms of us looking at him being a quality player, but him staying fit, because he really does give us something else across the back line. He can play play across the back line. Saliba's injured, Tomiyasu can go there. Gabriel's struggling, Tomiyasu can go there. Left back options limited, Tomiyasu can go there. Right back options limited, Ben White needing a rest, Timber not ready, play Tomiyasu there. So it's so important he's fit, and he just has so much quality to do different things. You want him to invert, he has done that to a high standard as well. I take you also back to the last game of the season against Everton. Tomiyasu, that position he found, that's the sort of thing I'm talking about when I looked at the pre-season video. I feel like Tomiyasu is certainly going to do that a lot more next season. He's going to be a lot more advanced on the pitch. He's going to play in those little higher pockets in space. I take you back again to Zinchenko the season before. He was really good at finding a position in between the centre half and the full back for the opposition team, placing himself there, and he can play. He's a really good player on the ball, Zinchenko, we can't dispute that. So I feel like Tomiyasu is going to really be given that role, the confidence to go into midfield, go express yourself. If you find a bit of space up there, you're tall as well, we can play off your knockdowns, because I think Arteta wants a variety in terms of ways to play football. So I think next season definitely a new role for Tomiyasu, and a more important role for Tomiyasu, which is fantastic for him because he's a really gifted footballer. And I do actually think he can actually play the John Stones role as well. I feel like he has the ability to do that, especially when I've watched him play for Japan. He has a technical ability to come into midfield, play higher, you know, drive with the ball. It's a hard role to do, the John Stones role that he does for Manchester City, but I certainly feel like Tomiyasu has the football brain to certainly learn that role and become a really good player doing that role. Now let's move on to a bit of different news in terms of the youngsters. Patino, Skelly, all in first team training, which is fantastic stuff for us. I made a video on Skelly yesterday talking about how I feel like he's the most underrated out of our youngsters. I feel like he has a lot of ability, and I think he's the most likely to nail a spot down because he's an all-phase midfielder. He can drive with the ball, he has the technical ability, ball striking, can defend spaces, the football brain. He has everything that we need. You know, that left number 8 role needs to be occupied by an all-phase midfielder, and Skelly certainly has the quality to be that all-phase midfielder. So I really hope he has a strong pre-season, does really well in training, and can go on the US tour. Him, Nwaneri, can certainly be a difference maker on the US tour, especially since that we aren't going to have a lot of our first team players back. You know, a lot of players did go, you know, quite far in the European Championships. And Patino himself, there was murmurs he would leave the club. It's good to see him in training. Maybe he's going to show Mikel Arteta what he's got, you know, in the training sessions, and show the quality he has, because he is a top quality player, and one of the players that actually a lot of the Arsenal hierarchy think has the quality to go on to be world class. So I hope it's at Arsenal for his sake and for our sake, because seeing a Helen boy coming to the first team is always a fantastic thing. So nice to see him in training. Maybe we'll see him on the US tour. And finally, just to end it off in terms of transfer news, Bentley and Calafiori, hopefully those deals will be done soon. I think the problem with that is a lot of players are on holiday, and Bentley, I think we're still fighting over the fee, so maybe we're going to see him come later on because we're a bit short on senior goalkeepers. But yeah, that's it for now, Gunners. Hope you have enjoyed. If you have, make sure that you have liked the video and subscribed if you are new here, and until next time, peace.